Up in here?
Yeah.
Up in here. Up in here.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerd Age. This is the show where we talk about everything nerdy. My name is Mick. With me, as always, are my co-hosts Josh.
What's up?
Jonah.
Hey.
And Cory.
Hello.
If you guys like what you see here, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Leave a comment down below on what we talk about during this episode, which is, surprise, surprise, more Ahsoka. And leave a like and share it with all your friends. With that being said, we're going to jump into those Ahsoka episodes. We got 2 to talk about today.
That's
right. We're just going to jump into some spoilers. So
yeah, it's going to be hard to talk about episode 3. We just watched episode 4.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's just start with episode 3 and we'll get through it, and then we can talk about episode 4.
okay. Episode 3, the space battle, cool. Ahsoka goes outside in a space suit. So episode 4. What'd you guys think?
So you're going to crap on the hard work that was put into episode 3.
I'm
Is that
not
what you're going to do?
I'm just saying.
That's what it sounds like.
No, I'm just saying. Episode 4, I just got my mind blown. So, we normally like to talk about things that blow your mind.
Well, episode 4 is the most recent, and arguably it was a little more stuff happened.
Yeah, episode 3 was good. I thought the space battle or the space fight was cool. The sound design was really awesome. I still think Shin is awesome. Like her lines, the way she in the space battle, the way she was flying and all that kind of stuff was just really well done. And I liked certain things about them getting there in the hyperspace ring, seeing that. Mm-hmm. All that kind of stuff to just build. I just thought that episode was really good to me. I think I can't stand the New Republic, which is what I think they want you to do.
Oh, yeah.
And what's that senator's name that's related to the Resistance?
Siono.
Yeah.
Kaz's
dad. That guy is trash. And I love how Hera was like, did you just sit back and wait to see who won?
Yeah.
And then pick what side you wanted to be on. I thought that was an awesome line. But yeah, I really enjoyed that episode. What'd you guys think of any of that kind of stuff?
I really like the training aspect with Sabine. With I always forget the droid's name.
Hu Yang.
Yeah. It seemed a lot more traditional Jedi training with the holographic things that she's supposed to slice.
Kantos.
Yeah.
Veritas.
Yeah, that was fun to see, and then her trying to develop an actual Force ability with the blinding mask, and that being a callback to Luke and everything. That was just fun to see, and see her slowly kind of developing. Like maybe she does actually have Force abilities, and then her struggling with the cup. I like that scene too. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, that was I think more the highlight for me was just that training aspect and seeing them working together.
Yeah, I thought that the intro was really cool. Just the training aspect, seeing that kind of stuff that I feel like we haven't seen Jedi training in a long time. So it was cool to see that. And the music during it was really cool.
Yeah.
The music just continues to be awesome in this show. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I really liked them kind of teaming up together during the space battle. Them kind of Ahsoka keeps telling her you gotta anticipate it. What are you doing? And then eventually she's like, okay, let me know what you need. So it was kind of cool to see them getting a little give and take, working together. I thought that was a cool moment for both of them. But yeah, I thought it was. I liked the episode a lot.
Yeah, what'd she say? She was like, "This isn't the time for."
Yeah, this isn't the time for a lesson.
A lesson. Let's just get through this. Yeah.
Cory, what do you think?
I think my highlight was probably just the training aspect of it. I think. The space battle was cool. I like the aspect of with the turrets and stuff like that, and then figuring out how to get past them, and that was cool. But yeah, me personally, I don't really like the aspect that Ahsoka was out there, doing flips. I was
I love that.
Shin's stupidly aiming for a tiny person when she should be shooting at the ship. Like for me, it's just like, it's whatever. It's kind of like flavor stuff. If you buy into it, you buy into it. If you don't, you don't. No worries, kind of a thing. Not my favorite. Especially because in Legends, Luke goes outside of a ship and he uses like the Force to take down a Star Destroyer. And I was like, that's sick. And that's dope. But this was like, it's okay. Like, I see what she's going to do. She's going to try to deflect the lasers. But yeah, I mean, it's a taste thing, right?
Yeah, I liked it because it reminded me of Clone Wars, because that Plo Koon does that and she does that, and then in Rebels they also do that in season 3 finales. They're outside, so I like it.
Why are you aiming for a tiny person when you should be just shooting the ship, right?
Or why are they flying so close to her lightsabers?
that gets me. I'm like, you guys know it's a lightsaber, right?
I mean, I think you can do that with any aspect of like why fly in between.
Yeah, that's why I said if you buy into it, you do. If you don't, you don't.
Around it. But yeah, I liked it because it was like, it felt like, oh, this is Dave Filoni doing like a callback to the cartoons in live action. So I like that. And then
even down to her like spacesuit, that seems so cartoon, Clone War, Rebels.
Yeah, her Leikus were even like in.
Yeah, you gotta keep them filled up.
Sacks.
So people were upset.
They were.
People were upset about when Ahsoka says that everyone can use the Force. Right? There are a lot of people that are like, that's not what George Lucas said. What about the midi-chlorians? But actually, this is exactly what George Lucas said. George Lucas, in interviews and in a book, I can't remember what the book was called, but he's talking to Kasdan about how the Force works, and he's like, it's like taking a yoga class or a karate class. Anyone can take a class. Some people are just more adept at it.
Or just any sport.
Right. And so he's like, you can, like, karate is there. It doesn't matter who you are. You can go take a class. But he's like, the reason the Jedi are so good at it is because they're disciplined and they actually work hard for it. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like, I was like, yeah, that's what George Lucas has always said. The midi-chlorians that's how easy the Force comes to you. Like Anakin's got, his midi-chlorians are off the charts. So the Force comes easy to him naturally. Where Obi-Wan has a very limited amount of midi-chlorians, so it's harder for him to identify the Force, but he becomes one of the greatest Jedi because he's disciplined and devoted to that. So to me, it's like that's what it's always been.
Well, yeah, that was always a scientific way to actually measure.
Right.
Like,
and even Hu Yang talks about like, the Jedi would never take someone like you because you don't have a high count. You're not, they take the kids that show, like, it's potential. Like a kid. Yeah. It's like a kid that, a 5-year-old that's a prodigy and can play the piano already, right? He can play the piano at 5 because he's insane. He has this amazing talent. Whereas I would have to take lessons to learn how to play the piano. I can still learn how to play the piano, but he's just got more piano midi-chlorians than I do.
The fact that people are like, would have wanted him to say midichlorians is ridiculous because we've come full circle from people being like, what the heck are midichlorians? Yeah, exactly. What is so stupid? They never talked about this before. And now they're like, why didn't he talk about the midichlorians? You're like, come on, dude, just take a break.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy though. I really enjoyed that episode, but I think we can move on to episode 4.
I will say one cool line that I enjoyed from Hu Yang was when he's like, you do come from a long line of non-traditional Jedi.
That was good.
Which was really cool to tie that back to, like, from Yoda to Dooku to Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan to Anakin and then to Ahsoka and Sabine was just a really cool, like, that's a really cool nod to what they've built with this storyline. So I thought that was really cool.
And also say, Balin, even though he wasn't in this episode, his lines are just so good. He's there at the end.
He just looks cool standing there.
And he's like,
yeah, that guy looks cool.
I'm just like, man, they do such a good job with him.
Lines. Yeah.
And then in episode 4, he has some really cool lines that we'll get to. But
literal one-liners, like one-worders.
Yeah, but they're just they have
good.
so much weight to them, and they feel like there's more to him than just, I'm a bad guy, right? You want to know more about him. So episode 4. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it needed to be a big episode. This is the setup to how this is all going to end. And so, we knew that there was going to be a conflict. spoiler from the trailer, we knew there was going to be a conflict at the headstones. I don't know what it was called. The little map area. We knew this was going to happen. But yeah, the way it happened, I think was really well done. It's classic Rebels, classic Clone Wars style. It's like, you know, you get there, you also get like disabled. You got to emergency land somewhere. You're working on the ship to try to figure it out. And in the meanwhile, they sent a search party out. They find them, you know, like all these common tropes. It was done really well, I think. I think Huyang is my probably my favorite droid. I really like him a lot.
He's awesome.
He's awesome.
He's really good.
It was cool to see him fight the dude off. I kind of want to see him. I'm afraid he might not make it out of the series, but I think it'd be cool to see him pull out his 4 arms and have 4 lightsabers.
You want him to Grievous it?
Yeah, I want him to pull a Grievous.
I thought he was going to, honestly. I thought he had the weapons, but
that's got to be season finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool scene. I like the setting of it.
Yeah,
too.
the planet looks awesome.
The planet looks cool. The red trees. I thought the lightsaber fights were really cool between Ahsoka and Marok, and then Shin and Sabine. So I just thought it was cool going back and forth. It felt Star Warsy.
Yep.
You know, between like you've got 2 different battles going on. That was cool to me, and just the way it was shot was awesome. And again, we mention this all the time, but the music in this episode is really, really good.
Yeah.
And it sticks out to me every time. I'm like, oh man, that sounds so awesome. It's just so good. It kind of has that samurai feel to it, but still very Star Warsy. It's awesome.
This episode specifically was very samurai too. Speaking of Barack, what do you think happened with his death?
I assume
maybe
Marok.
What I assume he's
the smoke monster from Lost.
No, I assume he's
possessed by the night.
It's like it's the Night Sister.
Yeah.
Like the armor is possessed with the spirit, and then that, you know, because they've done that in the past with stuff. Although it's kind of similar to in Tales of the Jedi, when Ahsoka kills that last Inquisitor, similar thing happens. She cuts his head off, and then his head deflates. Right?
Well, it was just dust this time.
This one seemed more like force coming out, though.
Right.
Which made me think like there was something trapped in there, and his body even shakes a little more. It wasn't like a gentle, like, oh, let me just disintegrate.
And the armor's kind of pieced together too. Like it's got that red markings. If you've watched it in the previous episodes, so it's like maybe it's held together with magic or something. But I assume that's what it was.
Yeah, I thought it was Night Sister magic. Like we've seen people possessed before by that, you know, green smoke type stuff. So I thought that's what came to mind when I saw that happen. But yeah, also Smoke Monster from Lost, probably
and
second.
People are upset because they were like, it had to be a Star Killer.
Well, I think people moved on from that, and they were more sold on Cal Kestis. They were, for some reason, really wanting Cal Kestis.
Just basically anybody.
Because he wears an Inquisitor suit, like he has a skin in game that looks not exactly like it, but the same armor, not the same helmet.
I mean,
it's cool, guys.
All these people that really like overpromise, right? They're like, hey, we want more of this, and then they're disappointed. I hate that kind of people.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Han Solo in the suit.
It's
just like you said.
Yeah, it should have been. I think people were upset with that. I mean, I thought it looked cool. Yeah, and I like their lightsaber fight.
Well, do you think we'll see more of that character in some form?
No, I think he's done.
He served his purpose.
Yeah, and if they explain it, there'll be another character like that shows up, and she's like, "Oh, I can possess these armor things or make people."
Yeah.
Like
it does kind of prompt the question, like, well, what was the point of him to begin with? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, to have an extra body, but like, I don't know, the like mystery of it. So I hope there is some kind of like wrap back around, or
it does feel like it needs to be kind of a setup.
Maybe
for something else.
The Night Sister does something similar to that again. Then you're like, oh, that's what she was doing, or oh, I see.
I think that's what'll happen.
I hope that's something that happens, because it felt kind of, I don't know, out of left field kind of a thing.
Like, why not just have it be one of the droids again or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's not.
It felt weird.
to me, it's not that big of a deal
And it
because
felt brief
I feel
for
like
me.
none of the. It's not like they had specific lines that a character would be like, you know, like teasing the character. It's
Right.
a guy shows up in a suit and everyone was like, "Who is that?" It's like, well, I mean, Boba Fett was a guy in a suit, and it was just a guy that
And look
looked
what
cool.
story we got for him.
No,
Yeah.
but that was
That's
after
what he's saying.
after the fact. So
Yeah.
I just think it was like, oh, the guy looks cool, and
Yeah.
then.
So in 30 years, we'll get more from him.
A little backstory.
But I do think there's going to be something where we see that same magic in this new place. If there's more Night Sisters, you know, maybe they make that, and then there's that connection of, oh, that's what he was. But I don't think they're going to explain it like have a 2-minute scene where it's like,
No.
hey, who is Moreau?
Well, it's just about
Yeah.
like showing.
Yeah.
It's about showing the relation, and then you can figure it out on your own. Maybe this would be kind of sick. They get there, and you know, maybe there is a Night Sister because of trying to we figured out, or we're trying to figure out how do they contact each other? How is Thrawn actually contacting Night Sister? Like we said before, maybe a Night Sister is possessing Ezra, and we see that possession, and you know, through in Ezra or something like that. That'd be a cool little connection. Be like, oh, I see. Like they can possess. We know that, but the greater audience doesn't. So it'd be kind of cool.
yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to kind of wrap back to like the fights because, you know, talking about, oh, it was very samurai. It felt very Western samurai, like the younger Padawans are fighting, and it's a reckless fight. It's rushed. It's scary, you know, scared on the, you know, hot, or what's her name?
Shin.
Shin. She's on the aggressive side. And then you got the veterans who are just very, you know, very slow and very calculated.
Yeah.
Very wise. They're talking throughout it. It was very cool to see the differences in the fights and seeing the experience difference as well.
Yeah.
And I really missed that. It was very refreshing to see it. I was like, this is Star Wars, dude. I love this. It's not like reckless Anakin. You know, it's like Anakin being reckless and then Obi-Wan being more like thoughtful in his fights, like being wise.
Yeah.
It's like the callback to that original kind of George Lucas kind of style.
The scene where she's fighting Balin and she gets one stance and then he does his stance and then she changes it. And so then he adjusts his a little, like that was really
Yeah,
cool.
it was
They're
really
like
cool.
feeling themselves out kind of thing. But that conversation that they're having, it made me kind of think he kind of blames Anakin and Ahsoka for what happened to the Jedi. It seems like, you know, the way he talks, like you guys only know one way.
Well, he also said she abandoned him.
Right. And so there's this whole aspect, like, you know, like they screwed up the whole Jedi way. And it's interesting to me that he keeps mentioning, like, you know, we can do something different. A war is going to happen, but we have a different.
Yeah.
So part of me thinks it's either, okay, while this is happening, we're going to have power and we're going to, you know, find more force sensitive people and redo the Jedi Order. Or what do you guys think of this? Does he know about the world between worlds? And is he thinking if there's a way to go back and rewrite history or change things to prevent the Jedi Order from falling? Like that to me would be an interesting like change or something that would be like, does he want to change things? And he blames Anakin and Ahsoka and, you know, this other stuff. So that's just kind of interesting to me. And through that conversation, it kind of seemed like there was some teases of there's something different about these two that we don't fully understand yet what they're doing. Like we've got teases of.
He's talked about if you want change or you need to have power.
Right.
He's talked about that. So I think that's his general driving force is he wants to have power so he can do stuff.
And that's what I'm wondering
what's the change he wants or what does he want?
What's the power he's talking about? Because like in this new in this new galaxy, what's the thing? To me, something that would be powerful was if I can go back in time and change things, right? Like the way Palpatine wanted the same thing in Rebels. He wanted access to the War Between Worlds because he knew that whoever had that. So to me, it's like, does he know something about that? And that's the power he's talking about? Or is there something beyond that we don't know? Is there like Force users over there that are different? You know, like I don't think we've found out what exactly the power is he's talking about. So I'm just wondering, what do you guys think what he's referring to in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know specifics, but I bet it's generally like he's always been probably on the receiving end of other people with power. So he's probably just thinking, oh, if I want to change things or if I want to control my life, I need to be the top dog. So I think it's more like that. That's kind of how I see it. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'll become very apparent in the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, because I don't know if he's aware of, because it seems like Morgan Elsbeth was like, oh, we're going to this other galaxy. And he was like, oh, the children from the temple used to talk about that.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was previously aware of it. It's like new information that he's just getting. So it doesn't seem like it's something like he already knows there's something out there that he's going to get. You know what I mean? At least from the conversations that we've seen him had, to me, it doesn't jump out like he's like, oh, I know that when we go get Thrawn at this other galaxy, there's a temple over there that will give me ultimate power or whatever. I think it's more of the idea of, oh, let's burn everything down and then we can come in behind and rebuild stuff, kind of a thing. I think that's kind of more, that's what I feel like, at least from the conversations that we've seen. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But
the reason I would say, because I know there's that concept of like, if there's a war, everyone's so distracted with Thrawn and stuff, then we can do stuff behind the scenes. But in episode 2, when they're talking about, when Shin's like, what's in it for us, right? He says, power beyond, unimaginable power beyond anything. And so to me, it's like, that line to me seems like there's something that he's specifically knows about that's going to grant him that power, instead of just being like, what's the power if Thrawn, like what does that change in him? If these people are distracted, there's no power that it's like, it doesn't make him more powerful if Thrawn's fighting the new order. So the new republic.
I think Thrawn is the key to power. If he gets Thrawn back, he's his key to power. I think that's all it is.
Okay.
It'd be interesting. I'd love to see.
I could see what you're saying, though.
For sure.
If he's like, oh, I know that Ezra had access to the world between worlds somehow, and Ezra's with Thrawn. So therefore, if we reach Thrawn, then we're able to get Ezra, and Ezra can show me how to get to the world between worlds. So I can see that.
But there hasn't been any direct naming or of anything like that to the world between worlds.
Right. But
so that's the only thing.
The only thing that makes me think he's a little different is because he seems to be able to feel with the Force and know things. So he, even like when in this episode, Sabine is like doing something and he goes like, and he's like, oh, so he like senses something. Whereas we haven't seen that someone be so attuned with that. He even does that with, he like reaches out in the Force and he's like, she's coming, Ahsoka's coming. Like,
we've seen Jedi be able to sense presence.
Yeah. Right. But his seems to be more like knowing for certain. Whereas there's like, we've seen in the past, it's like, oh, well, it's uncertain. His is more like, oh, I can sense certain things about certain people just like by closing my eyes and doing that. So I'm wondering if that's a way they play into the fact that he knows more than he's led on to be. Because that to me, even the aspect where you're like, oh, well, he didn't know anything, but it's like, is he playing dumb with her to not lead on? That he seems to know, he seems to be playing a game, and trying to keep it from Elsbeth a little more. So I don't know. That's why I kind of think there's something more to them.
That's interesting, huh? Because you're assuming that there's going to be more than just Ahsoka being knocked out and having this vision and being in this world between worlds in her mind. You think it's more than whatever it's going to... Well, whatever it is. Because, I mean, that's like semantics, right? It could be physically being there, or it could be just, spiritually being there, or whatever it is, right? You're saying there's going to be more than just Ahsoka being there, which is, by the way, at the end of this episode, that's what happens, right? We see a little glimpse of this walkway, and we see Anakin there. And so you think there's going to be more visits to the world between worlds than just Ahsoka?
I don't know about that.
Because it's happening right now, and she's there.
I think episode 5 is going to be all about the world between worlds, where Ahsoka is right now.
Well, I was thinking about, she got left behind. This show's called Ahsoka. How's she going to get there? World Between Worlds.
Yeah, I think at the end that's where she's going to be able. She's going to be able to go through a portal
tunnel, dude.
But I don't know if necessarily Balin's going to go there.
Okay,
but I think he knows about it.
Okay,
and so to me, it's going to be like,
okay,
I think we're going to find out more wherever Ezra is or what. I just think that would be kind of interesting.
I don't know how would he find out about it, that because it feels like a very, very well kept secret.
Well,
does Sabine know about it?
Yeah, Sabine knows that Ezra jumped through a rock interface and went into a temple.
Because he could get it out of her then, because she's with
well, I'm just saying.
But he's saying that he already knows about it.
But here's the thing. In Rebels, they talk about how the Emperor knows that there are temples and certain things
he's not going to tell
that
people
have access to this world between worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's, I think Ahsoka says there are many doorways to this place. And so Palpatine knew that. Ezra's been there, Ahsoka's been there, but I'm like, we don't know anything about Balin and Shin. So did they find a temple? Did they find
like that
research about that where and then they hear whispers of this kind of stuff? Or if he senses stuff in the Force, then he can be like, oh, what we've been searching for, Ezra's the key. That to me is like, there's this easy way you can explain that, through dialogue or whatever, where it's like, we've been searching for this power, whatever. I don't know. I just think to me, there's something more than just like, we want a distraction to then rebuild this. I think he wants something, whether that's access to the world between worlds or access to Force users in this different galaxy. There's something that he thinks is going to grant him power. So he needs Thrawn. And I don't think it's necessarily Thrawn, because Thrawn is just super smart. It's not like he has superpowers. Does that make sense? So to me, it's like there's something in the Force that he wants that he thinks is going to grant him power. And maybe that is, in his mind, he thinks he's doing the right thing. Like maybe the Force has given him a vision of like, this is how we redo the order. I don't know.
This is crazy. It's crazy because that's like so many assumptions. Because like from the beginning, it's like, oh, he's just a freelance guy who's for hire.
A mercenary.
He's a mercenary. And it's like, as they're all learning about the key and how it all works, everyone's learning that for the first time. Even the witch girl or whatever, Night Sister, they're all learning it as they go. That's where I'm like, that's crazy that it's awesome. I love the idea. I think it's a little bit of a stretch, so I would temper your expectations on that. But wouldn't it be sick if it was
not
like
gonna happen.
He lost his wife and kids and he's trying to go back in time and change it, like something crazy like that? That'd be sweet. I don't know if they have enough time to do that crazy of a cool storyline. But because of him being kind of in the middle, dark side middle of the Force, there is some interesting story that could be told that's not just an absolute, I just want power, like I just want to kill everything. Like there's more depth to him and you can tell it. So there's something more for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure what.
I think that's a testament to the writing on the show and the character, that it's not just a one-dimensional, like, I want unlimited power. There's like, there's layers to him.
Yeah.
And there seems to be more going on than what you initially see. So I think that's really cool. I mean, the writing is done in that way where you can kind of like pick at it, maybe they won't pull it all together and it'll just be like, oh yeah, he just did want this in the end. But it does seem like he has another motive outside of being like, well, let's go get Thrawn. That seems like a cool idea. Or, oh, they paid us credits to do this, so we're along for the ride. Like he has his objective and he hasn't made it clear yet what that is. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
And I think, remember, this isn't...
He is dark side though, still. Like you still have to understand.
I don't know if he is.
Well, he's killing people. Like that's dark side.
Well, so do Jedi. Jedi kill people all the time.
But out of self-defense.
I would say
he's still
Windu killed some people.
I would say he's still dark side. He's not Sith.
He's definitely dark side. But he's not Sith.
He's dark side.
He's dark side leaning.
But he's not a Sith.
Okay.
You can disagree.
Maybe.
That's fine.
But I think, remember, there's a movie coming out. Dave Filoni's doing a movie, so it doesn't need to tell the whole story now. He could introduce certain concepts, and then in other shows that are coming out, Mandalorian, like these characters could show up in that kind of stuff. There's rumors that Ahsoka season 2 is already in development, and they're working on that. So there's still a ways to go with these characters. I don't think it necessarily needs to be like in the next 3 episodes we have left to tell their whole story.
Well,
I just think
Balin's probably going to be gone because of reasons outside of the show.
but I think they might recast. If he's a big enough character that sets up certain stuff, you can recast him, and people would understand why you have to recast him. I would much rather have that and finish his story than cut it and change it. Does that make sense? Like, oh, instead of going with him, now Shin takes that mantle. I would rather them just recast. I think they could get an actor that could do a similar job.
Depending on what they got planned for him. Yeah, for sure.
But I just think their story doesn't need to be told in 3 episodes. All you need to do is introduce something and give us a tease at the end of what's going to happen. Because I think if they're setting up Heir to the Empire that Filoni's doing in the movie, it can't just be Thrawn versus these people. There has to be more involved in it, and I think they play a big role into it. That's just me, though. They could just die in the next episode, and then we're like, well, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah,
I mean, now would be a good time to do that kind of setup stuff and have it feel more, earned by the time we get that. So it makes sense.
I would love to learn more about those two.
Yeah.
I think there's so much story to be told, and you can just see how much rage is in Shin.
Yeah.
In her eyes. You can just see how much rage is flowing through her. And Balin, you can see how much complicated history is behind him. And it's like, that's intriguing to me. So I think that Balin's going to die at the end of this, but I would like him not to because of that. I also enjoy Shin, even though she doesn't say much, you know?
She's really cool.
But I think she's cool and I think she's interesting. Man, I love when they had her fighter and she had the old Naboo.
Anakin.
I don't know what it was. Naboo technology headset. I love those things. But
what was the line? Help me guys remember. Ahsoka's coming. I love the line, but I can't know why I can't remember it. And she says to Balin, is that fear? And he says, not fear, experience or something like that.
Experience. Yeah, he just says
experience.
That's it.
He does that a lot.
So bad, dude.
Good.
So
and
bad.
I was like, that's such a good line. His delivery is
every
so
time he
good.
says that, I think of you guys. I'm just like, that's just depth, baby. That's just
it's
powerful
just so
writing.
Good.
Love it.
He's like Kevin from The Office. Why use many word with few word, get job done.
Exactly. Smart.
But it's just so good. And just even when he says, there many knew about Anakin, right, in the Jedi Order. And she's like, funny, I never heard about you. Like that line was Ahsoka trying to be like, who are you kind of thing. But he just looked unfazed with it. Like he's like, my plans are bigger than what you are thinking. Like that's where I started thinking there's more to it because he's just so above her. Even the only time he gets mad is when she kind of just throws Shin against the wall. And then he's like, you know only one way, right?
Yeah.
He's like, you guys are destructive. You guys aren't real Jedi. That to me was like, okay, there's something more with this guy. And Ahsoka doesn't even get it either. She's kind of like, who are you? I've never heard of you. I was trained by the best Jedi in the world, right? I'm Anakin. And he's kind of like above. He's kind of above that, And I just thought that was really interesting how they played that.
You see it a lot with Sith where they've seen the negative sides and the downsides of the Jedi, like the Jedi Order, how they do it, where they're kind of dealing they kind of deal in absolutes in a way, like where they don't. You can't have emotions. You can't do this or that. They're so strict. So it's like he was trained that way. So you can see all this like baggage and, he knows how she thinks. I think that's so interesting. The fact that he understands the thought process of Jedi. And I think that a lot of Sith do, a lot of that have turned. But Balin's like the first character that's actually like properly showing that in like few words and like his emotions and his looks. You can just see it.
So who does the title of the episode refer to?
Everybody.
It's
everybody.
Fallen Jedi. Is it Anakin? Anakin shows up at the end. He's a fallen Jedi.
It's Ahsoka, bro.
Is it Ahsoka? Is
It's
it
also
Balin? Is it
Sabine.
Shin? Is
It's
it
Ahsoka.
Sabine?
It's all of them. Boom. There you go.
Ahsoka
It applies to
bro.
everybody.
Is it Doctor Who Yang?
It's Doctor
Who Yang.
It's all of them. Yep, you're right.
That's right. It applies to every single one of them.
But yeah, obviously best episode in my opinion.
Oh, yeah,
by
absolutely.
far.
Yeah.
This is actually started. There's no weak plot points in my opinion. Like it's just one plot, but each character has such strong drive for what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think Ahsoka's probably got the least amount of drive. I hope, this is my opinion. I hope that with this connection with the World Between Worlds and Anakin, I hope this really gets me rooting for her, kind of a thing, because right now I'm more rooting for Sabine and Balin, and maybe the Night Sister. I'm not too interested in her too much, but everyone has such strong goals, and it's just very engaging, and I love it.
Yeah, I like the Sabine's decision at the end too. Like, I wasn't expecting it. Like, they set it up right, because Ahsoka's like, hey, you need to do some things as a Jedi that you're not counting. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, perfect. She's going to, be a good Padawan, and she's going to fulfill her master's wishes. And then to have her make the other decision at the end, I thought it was really cool. And just having that set up to what that means for the future, I thought was cool.
That was cool, yeah.
I also really like Hera. Just basically being like, screw the New Republic.
Yeah,
See you guys. I like the guy's like, you can't leave. You're a general. She's like, yeah, watch me. Like, what are you gonna do about it? I thought that was cool, and I
liked even the line that Jason says. Like, it's the typical.
Right,
I have a bad feeling, but there's
I have a bad feeling. Yeah,
but there's an element that he's got Jedi in him.
Oh yeah,
so
I felt like he could feel the Force.
That to me worked really well. And yeah, I think
that was awesome. I actually love that line.
I think one of the reasons that
I was like, that's Kanan.
This show feels better than Mandalorian season 3 is that this one is like telling one story, and you're going like, it's been telling one story throughout the whole episodes. Where Mandalorian season 3, there's side quests, jump around kind of things, and it felt like it took away from like the real story until you get to the season finale. So that's what I like about this show, is that we're not going to some other planet and being like, oh, let's follow these guys for a little bit. So to me, it's like
the Jack Black episode.
It's following the main characters, and it's telling one story that feels cohesive.
And all the like main characters are strong storylines. Yeah. Like, even Hera is like, even though she's not like ultra involved, but she still has a very like confident storyline that I'm like, there is a reason for what she's doing. Yeah. It's not that she's just there for plot tools. Like, she's making choices that she would have done in Rebels. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the commander, I'm the general, I'm going to do this. You can tell me, you can go against the rules when you're the leader. But I just love it. It's just, they're so strong. And I wish I would say that I would like to see a little bit more Chopper. We've seen him a little bit.
Chopper's going to murder some people.
I want him
to
start murdering people.
He will.
Like he usually does. That's why he's my favorite, or second favorite droid of all time.
It was cool seeing the Ghost in live action.
Oh yeah,
the Ghost just looks so cool.
It's so dumb, but I got chills when he's like, "All right, Phoenix leader, or we're on your command."
Yeah,
dude. Then they all lined up, and he called her. Yeah, I was like,
good,
that was sick.
Good. That's awesome.
But before we go on to something else, I have to say, the ending of this episode where Hayden Christensen shows up, Anakin, the line he delivers,
the DA,
where he calls her Snips. That to me, that's where I got chills there, and I was just like, her reaction to seeing him, and him saying, I thought it would be a little longer before I saw you. That I just thought was awesome. A great tease for the Dave Filoni directed episode that's going to drop, episode 5, which we all said, if anything's going to happen, it's going to be that episode. But interesting, the music plays there is just beautiful, but then at the end,
that's what
it does. The Vader sound. So I'm like, okay, like, is that just like a tease of like, oh well, like trying to throw you off?
Yeah.
Like, is this actually a manipulation? I don't know, but I just thought that's such a cool way to give you kind of like with music to be like, give you an uneasy feeling about it. Because everyone's like, hey, it's Anakin, he's back. Is that Force Ghost Anakin, or is that something else? So I just thought that was awesome.
Yeah, music's great.
And you said earlier that you think she's actually in the World Between Worlds.
Yes, I think that's how she's going to get to where Ezra is. She's just going to come out of Portal.
I think it's the same thing. I think she could be laying there. You know what I mean? Because they introduced astral projection. So it's like, as the way of the Force and how that works, it's just magic at this point. So it's like, I think of it as she's being like teleported.
Yeah.
If she goes through a teleporter, like a portal, I consider it the same, the way it works. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think the other thing I was thinking is
Interesting.
she's kind of a broken character because as far as like she's technically the daughter of the Force because she dies and the daughter gives up her life so that she can come back to life. Mm-hmm. So at this point, is she kind of like beyond? She's more of what we talked about, the Gandalf character, where she's more of a spiritual being that now takes a physical form, but she's actually just a spiritual being. So that's why she can go between these places. She just hasn't realized that she's actually not
Could be
a physical being anymore. And that's going to come to the realization later. But that's why she can access these points and go through time and these I think Dave Filoni might be playing with that a little bit because he's talked about how he loves Gandalf. And so what would he want to do is make his favorite character Gandalf in Star Wars.
Yeah.
She's definitely that symbol for sure.
Yeah.
If she's the literal sense, that's a good question.
I think it's just such a tough, for me, I'm like, okay, that's awesome because I know what happened. You know what I mean? But just think about the people out there that have their first introduction to Ahsoka was Mandalorian. And they're like, oh, this is a cool character. And then all of a sudden she's like, I can do this because in that one episode of Clone Wars, I died and the sister gave her life for me. And they're like,
I'm basically a deity. Like
what? You know what I mean? Like that's a hard sell. And I feel like, what are you gonna say? It's a hard sell.
No, it's not a hard sell. But I'm saying sell it. It's like an indirect sell.
There are ways to do it where it's written in a way where it says you can go back to this and watch that. I think
the little window pops up and that's like
no, but Dave Filoni has never been afraid to throw in concepts and do things that other people.
This is live action, baby.
It doesn't matter.
This is a whole different ball game.
I don't think so because even the fact that Ahsoka, the first episode of Ahsoka is. We get the scene from Rebels, and a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's a recap.
And what happened was very realistic.
They recapped everything for the audience.
Mm-hmm. They didn't recap everything. They recapped a lot. The last shot of that, but they don't have any context of who Ezra is. They don't have any context of who Zeb or Kanan or any of those other things. All those characters are already talking as if they know that. So I just think Dave Filoni doesn't hold your hand through it. He's like, hey, I'm going to throw you in here. I'll give a little context so that you can have something. But he didn't explain everything. I think that's the same way you can do with Ahsoka and these characters is you talk about a little drop of what happened on Mortis and that kind of stuff. People would be like, oh, what was that? And then you ask a Star Wars nerd and they're like, oh, you got to watch this episode.
You got to talk to Billy down the block.
No, but that happens all the time. The amount of times people from church are like, oh, what was this? What was that about? And I tell them, I'm like, oh, you should watch these episodes. That happens all the time. And Dave Filoni does a good job of giving you some context and dropping little seeds to be like, go back and do that. So I think you can do it.
But he doesn't do anything where it's required, to talk to someone. So I'm saying there has to be a more approachable way of cluing people in. So it can't be like a direct hard sell is what I was saying. It was more of like you're hinting towards something. And people can kind of like figure it out. Or it just makes sense even if they don't fully understand it. So I'm sure he'll write it some way like that. Where you get the gist.
Because wasn't in Mandalorian, wasn't there the convor that showed up with Ahsoka?
Yeah, she's in a tree.
Okay, so every single one of us know what that means. That's like, oh, Mortis, that's the daughter, that's the representation. But that's not
that's because we're on a podcast called the Nerd Age Podcast.
But let me tell you,
follow us online.
It's not like Dave Filoni's like it's not like Dave Filoni's like I can't put that in there because no one else is gonna know what that means. No, you put stuff in there. And then knowing that the fans are going to know
wasn't dependent
and
on
other people. So what I'm saying is he's going
to put stuff. We agree.
Putting a bird in the back scene of episode in Mandalorian is way different from saying Ahsoka survives right now in this episode and she can project herself to another galaxy
I'm not saying you explain that in one episode.
Okay,
what I'm saying is the fact that we in live action we're having Ahsoka without any explanation be in the world between worlds. That should automatically tell you that Dave Filoni doesn't care about people not knowing what that is. He's going to just do it because that's the story he wants to tell. So if he's gonna throw Ahsoka in the world between worlds, which is time travel and deals with all this kind of crazy stuff, he's already doing that.
Yep.
People don't even know what that is. We do because we watch Rebels. If he's willing to do that, then I'm not going to put it past him that he's going to explain a little bit about Mortis and throw some stuff in there about the Force, father, son, and daughter. Because I'm like, he's already doing World Between Worlds, which is a crazier concept than the Mortis gods.
You know what?
I don't think so.
You know
Mortis Gods is way crazier than the World Between Worlds.
They go hand in
Those
hand.
episodes are nuts.
They are pretty nuts, and even for that show, it was like very different. Like for me, like first watching it, I was like, "What?
Right?
What the heck? Like this is way new stuff we've never seen before."
Hand in hand with them. The way you access the World Between Worlds is through them.
But
that's the same thing.
But you can tell a story through that without talking to them or mentioning them.
But that's
you
the
understand how it works. Oh, there's different moments in time that you can see, right?
But he did the same thing in Rebels. So he throws these guys in there, doesn't explain who they are for people that a bunch of kids that were watching Rebels on Disney XD, and then he throws these concepts in, and kids aren't like, oh, what's that? Dave Filoni doesn't care.
I think
if it fits the story, he'll do it.
I think it's easier to buy into crazier stuff when it's animated. And that's when we were initially talking about, you know, the animated versus live action. I think personally that animation just has a more forgiving kind of like when you buy into animation, you buy into a lot more with that. So stories like that are way more believable and like more normalized, I think.
I think he will mention them.
I think so too.
I don't think the story of Ahsoka accessing the World Between Worlds will hinge on her being whatever, a reincarnation of the daughter.
I'm not saying that's what's going to happen in this series, but I think that's ultimately what's going to be explained.
Right. But that's what you said.
In her series or in her story?
No, I said that. I said what I think is happening.
See, that's what I thought you were saying.
What I think is happening is that's how she's able to access it. I never said they're going to explain that. Then you went into like, well, how's he going to explain that one? And I said he doesn't have to. They just have to drop certain hints.
That's what it sounded like.
And then eventually,
Mick, who's right?
Mick,
go ahead.
You can go back and listen to the episode.
Get the gavel.
What I said was, I think that's the same thing. If I have a theory on Balin doing something in the Force, that doesn't mean they're going to explain that. What I said was, I think ultimately he's making her Gandalf, and she's more of a spiritual being than a physical one, and she'll come to that realization eventually. I never said in this series.
Okay,
I'm saying that's what he's doing.
That's how we thought you were saying.
The implication was,
oh my god,
that they were going to do it while she was.
And when you said that he was not going to he wouldn't mention, I said there's a way to do it where you just do a hint, and that's why I then brought up the daughter in Mandalorian.
Right, cool. We're good.
Okay, we got it.
Hey, you know what?
So you're saying that's the point, but they're not going to explain it. That's what you're saying. Because it's too big of a concept to relate to the plebes.
What I'm saying is what Dave Filoni has always done is he's not been afraid to introduce concepts that they've done in the past. That's all I've said from the beginning, and you guys were against it.
No, we weren't against it. You were saying they were going to dive into.
I never said that.
You said Dave Filoni is going to come on screen and say, Ahsoka,
no, I never
she has these powers.
As Chopper.
Yeah, he's going to walk in through a portal.
I never said that.
I said, come here, daughter, sweet daughter of the Force. I have created you.
And I said that's what Dave Filoni is doing with Ahsoka, making her Gandalf, and that he's never been afraid to introduce concept, even though people haven't seen certain things. If it's for the story, he'll put it in there and have people go back and watch things.
You know what the best thing is we're not doing this like at the end of the week where like when we release this podcast, if we won't like spoil, like the episode will be immediately wrong. At least we'll have 6 days of being wrong.
We can do this.
You know what I mean? That's great. I love that.
Yeah,
we have a lot more leeway this week.
Episode 5 is going to bring me back into contention for the winner of this thing. Because everyone's showing up in episode 5 in the world.
That's what you think, huh? It's going to be like a clip show?
Yeah.
No, I think
it's a highlight reel.
I think Anakin is going to take Ahsoka through.
Look at this. Look at how he handled this.
Anakin is going to take Ahsoka through his life, and she's going to see. They're going to do flashbacks to Clone Wars.
What's that Christmas movie?
Like Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
Yes. It's going to be like Christmas Carol, dude.
My question is, how are people going to understand it if they haven't seen other Star Wars?
Get out of here. You're the worst.
That's a joke, bro. That's a joke. Jeez.
We all knew it was a joke.
Oh my gosh.
I'm about ready to.
But let's be honest. I mean, I thought the very like like the 20 frames of World Between Worlds looked cool.
Oh, it looks sweet. It looks really cool in live action.
Looked sick. Like it was the same de-aging that they did in Obi-Wan, which looked good.
He has the better hair though.
Yeah, and I teared up a little bit at the end to watch because I always have to watch the
music,
the credits.
Yeah,
and it says with Hayden Christensen. I was like,
you teared up on that.
And then you saw Sam Witwer, and you're like, Starkiller.
He's back as Anakin,
He's
baby.
fine.
So good.
He's great. People love him.
I know.
Love
it's good to see Anakin back. Anakin and Ahsoka together.
I mean, the craziest thing is that they said Snips in live action.
That's
true.
What about all the people who never watched Clone Wars don't know who Snips is? They think it's your dog.
Good thing the story doesn't depend on it.
Yeah, exactly,
Just
bro.
saying. Another point for me.
But
Nick.
yeah, obviously, I
Rick,
mean,
do you think he got a point on that?
No comment.
You haven't said a lot. Go ahead. You need a comment. You need a comment right now.
for what?
Everything.
I will say that I think it's smart at some point for the creators of a show or a world that they're creating to write the story for the people that are fans of it. I think at a certain point you have to just assume that the people that are watching it have, that enjoy the stuff that you have done previous. So
Yeah, and we agree. Yeah.
yeah. So I think there's, you could say things to what Jonah's saying and to what you guys are saying, but at the end of the day, I think more smart to actually write it for the people that are fans of the show, because that's the people that are going to be watching it and doing podcasts about it. And
but
that's, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
yeah, but
I like your opinion,
I think
Nick.
there are more people who don't watch Rebels than there are, and so you don't want to alienate everyone who's watching. Like if there was one key thing that they're like, we don't understand any of this, like a whole episode of that'd be overboard, right? But he's not going to do that. It's going to be more subtle, like you were saying, and it'll be a little bit easier. And like my mom will be understanding.
It's subtle though. In the next episode, if it takes place, the full episode takes place. It's 40 minutes of the World Between Worlds.
No,
It won't
because
be.
you're explaining it at that point. And you're not mentioning the daughter.
They're going to explain it again.
Yeah.
Or is she going to
She's going to say,
like I've been here
the
before.
last time I was here was in season 4, episode 22 of Rebels.
Dang. At least you can reference it.
See, I think I don't know if they're going to go through a whole explanation of it. I think they might be. She's like, oh, I've been here before.
Two different stories.
And you're going to be like, oh, she's been there before. And then again, you're going to ask people that are like, what was that? And it's like, oh, in Rebels, it happens. Because I think a lot of people are going to go back and watch Rebels after watching Ahsoka that never watched Rebels. And I think that's what they're banking on.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I think it's just smart business, right? It's called circular.
Just in little limited interactions that we get on TikTok. When I did the Rebels rewatch, there were people that were like, oh, I've never watched Rebels. I'm really interested now to watch Rebels. I just think that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
With a lot of people.
That happens with a lot of IPs too.
On a bigger scale. So
yeah, it's good. I know when I watched the Mario movie, I was like, I want to play Mario 3.
That's true, bro.
Let's go, baby.
Mario Wonder.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I think this is obviously the best episode so far. I put it somewhere in the 9s for me. We had some awesome lightsaber fights. The lightsabers looked all really good. Because I remember the stills that we got and people complaining at how the lightsabers looked, nitpicking.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it looks like just the ones you buy at Disney, But they added more bloom to it and more of the and the sound of Balin's lightsaber when it lights up sounds awesome. Yeah. Go back and listen to it. It sounds sick. But yeah, it just felt back at home. It felt very, very not nostalgic. It was like a new nostalgic, it just felt like Star Wars should feel. And so I'm really happy about this series so far. So we got how many episodes left? 3? Sweet. That's great.
No, we have 4.
Oh, is it 4?
Yeah.
What are we on? 4?
This was 4.
was 4.
So next week's is
so
5.
we got 4
and then
more.
it's 6.
Halfway through.
And then it's 7.
And after that,
and then it's 8.
Real quick though, this is in the first episode.
Oh,
but I didn't know.
Throwback.
Someone, what YouTuber?
You know when Ahsoka is
reference them.
when Ahsoka is
Blu-ray Angel.
When Ahsoka at the beginning, and she's in the little temple and she turns the things around.
Yeah.
She's like holding it.
Yeah.
Where you hear like some voices. And apparently, you hear Darth Maul's voice when he dies with Obi-Wan in Rebels. And he's like, is he the chosen one?
Yeah.
With,
You
like, the
hear him say
holocron.
that. And
Really?
people are like, yeah, I was watching Star Wars Theory, and he's like, no, that's not true, because someone put it in this chat. And then he's like, we did it, and you hear...
Wait, I
he's
thought I
like,
did hear that,
Wait, you
actually.
can. And other people are like, oh, no, you can't, because it's multiple voices, but it really sounds like it's Sam Witwer's Maul saying that.
Is this
So
like
go back and check it out.
Is
thought
this
I
like the
heard that.
Mandalorian where Babu Frick guy says the
No, but
F word?
He really does say the F word.
That was crazy.
That is crazy. Check that out.
I-
Mandalorian season 3. Babu Freak drops the F bomb.
When I watched Ahsoka, I listened to it pretty loud, actually.
Yeah,
I want to hear everything.
You should go back and because it's really that's cool.
I don't
if
think
they
they'd
put that in,
People wouldn't get
and
it.
then that would be interesting because if they did,
Yeah, that
Sam
alienate
that
all
would
the
mean
viewers.
why Sam Witwer was in the cast.
Yeah.
you mean he's not
But he's in the
Morocco
ones
or
after.
Morocco or whatever?
Oh, was he in that ones after?
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
But hey, Sam
Darth
Witwer,
Maul, Darth
good
Maul
guy.
has been in every episode.
Darth
The,
Maul? Is Darth Maul in the next episode?
the other
Yeah,
theory
yeah.
that went to the wayside, I think, but I thought they were going to make Balin Plo Koon's like Padawan before Ahsoka. I thought that would have been cool to have like
That'd be kind of cool.
that connection when Ahsoka's like, if she would have known who he was,
He would have been younger then.
either that or
Balin
he
would have been
was
younger.
Plo Koon's master or something like that. That would have been I thought that was maybe something they were going to do, but now I'm like,
You really
if
just
Ahsoka
want
didn't-
Plo Koon in the
If
show.
Ahsoka didn't
He wants
know
as
who
many
he was,
Did you say Plo
connections.
Koon was in the show?
I did say
He said yes. He said
Yeah,
yes. He said yes to
hey.
almost everything.
all bets are off.
World Between Worlds,
If
baby.
the World Between Worlds, if they go in like, hey, we're not just walking through this, but we're going to see things, I think anyone
We're
can
going to
show
see
up.
Marty McFly in there.
I think Luke can show up through
We're going
there.
to see
I think.
Superman, all the Superman.
Other thing too, I forgot to mention this.
Yeah.
If there is a tie, this was in the rules. If there is a tie between like any of you guys for who would get the most predictions, the tiebreaker, the winner actually is who has the worst score. So if there's a tie,
You get to
the
decide.
worst score. No, the worst
Got
score
it.
wins.
That's crazy.
That's
That's how it
interesting.
works. It's pretty crazy.
That's interesting.
That's pretty convenient.
Anyways, that's gonna do
Oh,
it for.
dude, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get someone chatting up, being like, "Your guys' segment on Ahsoka was longer than the episode."
Yeah.
you remember that?
It was 2 episodes.
Yeah, we talked 2 episodes, so
Oh,
it
that's
should
true.
be.
We're good. If we
Someone
an
combine
hour and a half.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it on our Ahsoka episode. We'll be back next week with more Ahsoka. The best episode in all of Star Wars is going to drop next
Coming
week,
up.
next Tuesday, 6:00. Make sure you watch it and then listen to our podcast when we break it down. But we're going to move on to the next thing, which Cory had a chance to go to PAX over the weekend. And he
Over in
spent
Seattle.
3 days there?
I went to PAX 2 days, but I was there for basically 3 daes. Yeah.
So Corey's going to drop some PAX knowledge on all of us. What do you think? How was it? What did you enjoy about it?
Yeah, I think PAX is always fun, and I think if you like to be around like-minded people where they're just fans of games and nerdy stuff, it's just a fun place to be around. Everyone's nice, very kind people, and it's just like some of the best lines you have ever been a part of. Like everyone's so like cool, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like you want to join our Mario Kart race?" And like everyone's got like switches on them, and everyone's like trying to trade Pokemon and stuff like that on Pokemon Go and stuff like that. It's just a cool place if you're a super nerd like me, and people are so great there, and you get to try out games that aren't coming out until next year, maybe 2 years from now. Those are really cool when you can actually get to do that. One of my favorite games I got to play was Path of Exile 2. Path of Exile is a big game. It's basically like Diablo, but it's more of like from old devs who used to make like Diablo 2, and they made their own company, and they made it more hardcore and more like deep. They're making a second version of their game, and so I got to play a demo of that. They had like they're putting in classes, which they didn't have classes before, and so they're putting in classes. I played a cool druid. The graphics are amazing. The gameplay is fun. I got to do a 25-minute like demo of it. Me and Joby did it, and it was
Nice.
really fun. But
Is it co-op or is it?
yeah, you could have I think 4 people in a group.
Oh, nice.
It was just solo the demo, but just to be able to be in line, waiting to play it. And you just like have devs just walking by, like, hey, how's it going? They'll just come up to you and like, oh, you know, how's the development going? And we just get to talk shop about like the game. It's like, oh, what are you most excited about? And they're like, oh yeah, we're actually developing this and that, and like these types of islands. And it's just cool to have that like behind the scenes kind of interaction with developers. And you realize they're just like you, but they just know how to code. You know what I mean? Like they're just nerdy nerds just like us, and they'll ask about, oh, what else have you guys gone to? What else are you guys doing? And so Path of Exile was fun. We had a chance to kind of see Baldur's Gate, which Baldur's Gate 3 has already come out, but they had an amazing like set design. They had like castle walls at their booth. Like all these booths are like amazing.
I'm bearing a dude.
Yeah, bearing a dude and dragons and stuff like that. And it's just really cool. Like we went to this new game that didn't even have a demo, but they had like they didn't have a demo there. Basically, what it was, not Devolver. I think Devolver is the company, but they had like 3 different games that they're developing, and one of them was called Wizard with a Gun. Right. Nice. And we saw these people Friday. We didn't go to PAX, but we were on the streets on Friday, you know, and we saw a bunch of people. We had a bunch of people with like wizard hats and witches hats on. Right. And we're like, where's that from? We like talked to them. We're like, oh, it's a game called Wizard with a Gun. We're like, all right. So when we went into the PAX, we're like, we want to get that sweet swag. I should have brought it because it's awesome. But we tracked it down. That's usually what we do is we're like, oh, what cool swag can we get? And so they had us do like mini games and stuff like that. And then if you won, you get a code for the beta of the game that no one else gets access to. But if you went to PAX and you did their stuff, you get to try out the game at home when you get home. So it's fun stuff. And you get to talk to the developers and stuff. But yeah, we had a bunch of people like stop us and be like, where'd you get those hats? And I don't know what happened, but we went and got like a slice of pizza somewhere. We then walk out of this pizza place, and these guys with a camera, light, it was a live streamer guy. I didn't recognize this guy. He like runs at us and was like, oh, what's that hat for? Is that the new Netflix series? And we're like, no, it's from PAX. It's this game called Wizard with a Gun. He's like, oh, well, I don't know anything about that, but I guess we'll have to just figure it out. And then he just went away. We're like, what the F happened?
And he was like, are you Cory from the Nerd Age podcast?
yeah.
And you had to give him your sweatshirt.
Bro, the guys were just like ultra rude. And like, they were just like ran up to us and just yelled at us because they're live streaming.
Got to get that content.
I was like, oh gosh, these content creators are...
They're the worst.
The worst, yeah. But yeah, it was funny getting interactions like that. But we were able to go to Nintendo Live, which was a separate event that we got free tickets to. Took us like an hour and a half, hour 45 to even get in. It was so busy. It was so popular, and for good reason. Nintendo knows how to do it right. They had amazing booths and experiences you could do. A lot of photo ops. It was like they'd have different characters be there, and they were scheduled, just kind of like Disneyland, where you're like, you want to go take a picture with Goofy. He's at the castle at 2:00. It's like Pikachu is there at 3:00. Like it was weird, but it was a beautiful like booths and stuff like that. They had if you guys saw our TikTok, I posted, or Jonah posted a video that I took of a huge mechanical Bowser.
Yeah.
And he was made from 600,000 plus Legos, and he was animatronic, and he'd move.
That's crazy.
And you get in line to get like this video taken of you running from him, and they like green screen behind you, and it looked really good, and it was cool. But yeah, they had all sorts of competitions and stuff like that. They had the new Mario Wonder game and Pikmin 4 on the floor, but yeah, I got to do some building of Legos, made a Yoshi, little Yoshi guy. That was cool. And I got to play in this thing called Mario Dojo, where you compete against other fans, and the top 4 get to play on stage, and it was crazy. But anyway, yeah, it was fun.
Nice.
It was fun. I do question how long I'll be doing this though, because like the lines are so long. I'm just like
Disneyland.
Man, yeah. It's like it would be better if I had like other people like who were just super like passionate about it, you know, because I think that helps the people you go with. Because I went with Tina, and Tina's not really a gamer, and so I felt bad making her wait in lines for stuff that she doesn't even really enjoy.
Like, what am I playing?
Yeah. So it was cool though. We went to the last thing that was really fun was we're into this game called Wayfinder. I think I mentioned it maybe once or twice, but they actually held a party, and that was only for Wayfinder players. So I got an invite through their Discord, and everyone got tickets, and they had a whole bar, like a German bar rented out. So they had like bocce ball and like all these cool games. And they had this like main stage where they had like a beat the boss challenge. So they put you up against the hardest boss in the game. If you won, you got a raffle ticket to get like free graphics cards and processors and stuff like that.
Hey.
And then also they had some voice actors there. So you guys might notice or recognize Jennifer Hale.
Oh, yeah.
She was there. I got to meet her.
Oh, that's cool.
It was so fun. I wasn't nervous, but I was like, you know, I was honest with her. I was like, you know, you're so familiar. I know you're in so many games, but I looked up the list of what you've been in, and I was like really amazed because it's like everything. Yeah. She's like, yeah, I was basically your whole childhood. And I was like, really? How old do you think I am? She's like, probably like mid-30s. I was like, yeah. She's like, did you watch Carmen Sandiego? Did you watch Dexter's Laboratory? Did you watch like all these things? She just railed off a bunch of them. And I was like, yeah, I watched all those. She's like, yep. I was your whole childhood. It's just like drop the mic moment. It was cool.
How cool would that be able to tell that to somebody?
Dude, she was
tell
really
it to
nice.
people all the time.
Oh yeah, just all the time. Hey, you watched, you heard me.
I say that to my brothers all the time because it's true. I was your whole childhood.
Good point.
Grew up together.
That's true. Unfortunate. I mean, luckily, what a blessing.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Like those voice actors, they stuck around and like hung out. I talked with like the community manager of Airship Syndicate, which is the developer for Wayfinders, and just super nice guy. It's just super cool, like talking with these guys, and they gave you a gift bag at the end, which is really dope. And they gave you this. I should have brought some of the stuff I got, but they gave this like really cool USB drive. It was in the shape of a sweet sword that's like kind of iconic for the game. But in this USB, it has a copy of the game. But it was like a Gamba, like randomized. You could win up to the $150 version of their game with like all the premium skins and stuff like that. So James actually got like the third highest one.
Nice.
So you plug it in your computer and you're like, oh yeah, I got a game. Like, oh, I got the really nice game. Like, it's cool. Like they gave us a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, really cool artwork. We got posters. Jennifer Hale, like, she signed it. We got all the voice actors to sign the posters and stuff. So got some new pieces for the office, and yeah, just overall really fun. That was probably one of the more fun parts of PAX. Just those special times where you have some more time with people. So it was fun. It was really great. A lot better than 2 years ago. 2 years ago, it was like a zombie city. It was crazy. Like no one was even there because of COVID, and it was terrible. But this year was much better.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So would you guys ever go to PAX? Is that not a thing that you guys would ever be interested in? Josh, would you ever be? I know you guys wouldn't. I don't think you guys would be into it. But Josh, would you ever go?
Yeah, Crystal and I, because we were downtown Seattle. Mm-hmm. And we were...
I know you guys were going to a soccer game.
We were going to a soccer game, but we stayed downtown Seattle, and we went to get food, and everyone around us was like, all had their lanyards on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we were like blocks away from each other.
Yeah. And we were like, pretty fun to go to PAX one of these days. So,
I mean, I think you could probably do both. That's the thing. If you just like went with us, you know what I mean? Like, or went at the same time as us, and like, you guys go watch a game. What was it? Saturday, the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Skip PAX Saturday. You know, go on Sunday. We scout everything out on Friday or Saturday, and then you come in. Yeah. Especially if Nintendo does it again, because that was awesome. That was way worth it.
I think I'd be interested in going to the Nintendo aspect of it. I wouldn't know anything about the other stuff. So to me, it's like, how much benefit, like, because I don't know what the cost would be, but if I'm like, can you pay for one aspect of it?
Yeah.
You know, because that to me is like,
I think
the Nintendo stuff would be cool, but I can't see myself going to anything else.
There were some people that didn't do PAX. They had different lanyards. and we couldn't figure out why they had these Nintendo lanyards because they only got tickets to Nintendo Live.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So that was an option.
Yeah, because
They were separate
I do something like that.
Yeah, you
just
just-
because the other stuff would be like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't know what the heck was going on.
Yeah.
But the Nintendo stuff, I'm like, I mean, come on, Mario Maker, and
It was sick, dude.
Mario Kart. And
You would have loved
Smash
it, dude.
Bros.
If you could, the Mario Dojo, if you could have competed, I think you would have gotten real close to the final because there were some people who, depending on who you go up against, you get some kids, maybe some people who aren't very experienced.
Yeah,
You get to the final
kill in
four.
Mario Kart. I mean, I get in Mario Kart, and then
But
if you get me Mario Maker, I can
Yeah,
go
it was
fast
Mario Kart,
and jump.
Mario Maker. I thought it was Smash Bros. It wasn't. It was Mario Kart, Mario Maker, and then every round it was a new third mystery game, so you couldn't prep. The one I watched, it was Mario U, or I think the Wii one, or I can't remember what it was. It was another Mario game,
Yeah,
but it could have been Smash Bros. It could have been anything. So I think that's a fun thing.
Yeah.
And the orchestra was so beautiful. They had a live orchestra there that was playing it on the hour. And
That's sweet.
that was awesome. Because they have like, hey guys, we're gonna be doing, walking you through the melodies, like all the things that they're gonna be doing on stage. And it was just, it was awesome. I think Nintendo was, hindsight, I would have gone there first. Because the line was so long. So you just get there earlier than everyone else and then just wait. And then you're done for the day. But that would have been sick. But yeah, by the end, that was the last thing we did. And my feet were killing me. It was like crazy because on Saturday, we did PAX all day. Then there was a community day event for Pokemon Go. I think I walked 22 miles over the weekend. And so I did a lot of walking. But it was fun. It was fun. So anyway, that was PAX.
nice.
Surprisingly enough, no one saw me or recognized me at PAX, and so I still have my.
That's on
sweatshirt.
you, bro. If you would have sent me videos,
I know.
and be
I
like,
know.
oh, here
Okay,
I am.
I
I'd be like,
did mess up.
Find Cory on PAX. I'll throw little snippets of videos where he's at.
They
if
could
you
like
find him,
dial it down.
exactly.
Yeah, I'd be interested if anyone who's listening actually went to PAX. That'd be interesting.
Let us know. Did you see Cory?
Is there anyone who lives in
were
Seattle?
too afraid to go up to him and say, "Hey,
We got starstruck.
starstruck."
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was really cool. I mean, you got board games. You got everything nerdy you could ever think about. Like, yeah, everything. There's like, another thing we did. Me and Joby did a 2v2 Rocket League tournament. And actually, we haven't found out yet, but we're entering in a raffle to win a top of the line graphics card. So we might have won, but we destroyed these kids.
Nice.
And then afterwards, I found out who these kids were, and I was like, they are kids. And so we won these like keycaps for winning. They were so nice, and they're like so like, oh, you guys are awesome. You guys are so good. I was like, oh, here, you can have my keycaps. But it's just like that cool camaraderie, like between like nerds. It's just fun. So
Yeah, they were nice to your face, and then they like got on their social media.
like, this guy's such a tryhard.
Idiots.
And we beat them like 5-0.
dudes.
But yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, it was
Very
fun.
cool. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? I think that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that'll do it.
Stray, your favorite animated movie,
Ooh,
Stray.
baby, let's go.
Also, Starfield came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Interesting. Some people are having fun because you know what? It's all about, just accepting it how it is. But there's a lot of people who are not happy with this game.
of course.
There's a very popular video of comparing what happens in town when you just shoot randomly. The guards don't do anything. The people don't do anything when you point your gun at them. And they're like, this game's trash. The characters don't even react to you holding a gun at them. And then they compare it to Cyberpunk or Skyrim.
Red
and they're
Dead Redemption.
Oh, see, that's how it's supposed to be. It's like,
Well, yeah.
I mean,
of course.
did you guys remember how Skyrim was when it first got
Yeah.
released? It was so buggy. I remember there was a bug where if you were going up a mountain on a horse, you just go, and it would just launch you in the air and you die. There's bugs in every game,
Yeah.
and there's stuff that's going to be underdeveloped
I saw
because they rushed the release.
I saw a video of a dude that filled his hole with potatoes. So he was like, look at how they he's like, look at the more potatoes I put in here. Look at how well these every potato rolls differently. So as it starts overflowing out of my hole, look at how they designed these potatoes. Like, I'm like, what the heck?
Dude, have you seen the ships that people are making? They're recreating all the Star Wars ships.
That's pretty sick.
Star Destroyer, X-Wing, Millennium Falcon, and they look pretty good.
Yeah.
There was another person who was a streamer who was flying for 7 hours straight to get to Pluto. Ended up flying through it. It was just like a skybox. They figured out, oh, you have to warp there, and then it puts you in a different instance. It's not one continuous world like Minecraft where it's just a continuous world. So little things like that where you're pushing the game past what the developers thought you would do, and you're finding out, oh, well, if the whole world was there and you could just fly there, it'd probably be really laggy. Yeah. So that's why they have the warp. So it's like, I understand it. They probably sold it a way to be like, oh, you can do whatever you want. You can go anywhere. But they're like, but you technically can't.
Well, it's the same thing they did. I know it's a different because the games are vastly different, but with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the amount of people that as soon as that game came out tried to like figure out ways to break it.
Oh, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. And I just like, at some point, if that's just what you're going to do with the game, instead of playing for the story and for the enjoyment of it, you're just trying to figure out how can I glitch it out? How can I be like, oh, this game is so buggy? I'm like, well, then you're not playing the game to play it. You're just trying to break the game. To me, that's like
your opinion on the game should be maybe not as important because it's like it's the same as like buying a book but not reading it and actually just using it to like, I don't know, burn. It's like you're not doing it for its intended purpose, but people find fun in pushing the games to their boundaries.
Yes, I think
that's their fun.
I think there's a difference in doing that for if you're doing it for fun. Like, because there's a guy, I can't remember what his name is, but on TikTok that he plays Red Dead Redemption 3 and just does like finds the craziest things to do, and they're really funny.
Yeah,
but he's like enjoying the game and being like, oh, this is crazy that you can do. You know, like. He hog ties a woman and like, does all this kind of stuff. That's just like, you're not supposed to do that in the game, but they allow you to do it. And it's finding these crazy stuff. But he enjoys the game. He's like, I've passed the game like 8 times and I just keep doing this kind of stuff. As opposed to people that specifically want to break the game to then be like, this game sucks. Like, look at, I could do, you know what I'm saying? There's kind of a difference in people that are doing it for enjoyment and being like, man, I'm really enjoying this game. And others that want to be like, I'm going to prove this game sucks. There's kind of, there's the two sides of it, which is unfortunate that you have the one side that kind of
I know that guy, whoever that guy is, he enjoys the game a lot. And so it's like, it's not he's doing the right way where it's like, he enjoys it, but he wants to push it to its extremes. Yeah. How funny can he make it, or where can he get? And it doesn't count against the game. Like, he doesn't get on and go, oh, it's a 0 out of 10.
Yeah,
like he probably still rates it really high because you can do those fun stuff in the game. But yeah, there are people out there. They get in on Steam. If you don't play a game more than 2 hours, you can refund it. And so people are popping on, seeing what they can mess up glitch wise, and then probably just down ranking them, like being like, oh, it's a trash game, 0 out of 10, refund. Like, what are we doing? Like, do you guys want to buy into the game and have fun, or are you guys just looking to complain about stuff, Yep. So, but I mean, there are some pretty abysmal stuff in this game, but it's brand new. But yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
I've never had a game that's like completely like, maybe I've had a couple games where I'm like, this is trash. But it's very rare for me to do that.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be fun. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You guys have anything else this week or over the weekend that?
I don't think so. I think that's it.
I think Starfield was the biggest thing, release-wise.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. We will be back next week with more of the Nerd Age podcast, more Ahsoka, the best episode ever coming out here. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya. Bye.